Welcome to Electric Evolution with Liz Allan. This podcast is about the journey to a more sustainable future in order for us to be able to do our bit to achieve net zero. I'll be discussing a variety of topics with experts in their field in order to educate and increase our knowledge of clean energy, electric vehicles and the electric vehicle infrastructure. So whether you're an individual wanting to make a difference at home, a small business or a corporate, this podcast is just for you. So on Electric Evolution today, I have John Curtis. Now I'm going to do the clapping from EV Café. Woohoo! Thank you for joining me, John. So you are Director of Operations at the EV Café, and we met last week, which was amazing. And you're so tall, and I felt so small, and I don't think I'm small normally, but I felt really small.
These things are all relative. So I'm 6'4", and I'm standing next to Dean Hedger from the AA, who's 6'6". You've got Jordan Middleton, who was there from Interval, the recruitment partner we have, and he's 6'7" and built like a brick shed. You know, he's got a leg like I've got a torso. It's just these people are enormous. What's wrong with them?
Honestly, just see, and I was with Chris Hunter, who I work with, and he's like 6'1", and I was just like, oh my God, it's the first time in a while I've actually I felt small, not smelt full. That's totally wrong. Get it the right way around.
This could be a long podcast, people. This really could.
It could be. I know, exactly. This is what happens. It's a Monday. This is when we're recording. It's Monday in December, and it's all going all wrong. But no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So, now then, you originally worked in law.
Yeah.
How the heck what is your journey to get to where you are now? Kind of working with the EV Café team.
I was 37 years old and I had a midlife crisis. And the midlife crisis was, I need to do what I need to do in my life. For those previous 37 years, I'd done what I was told. And when I was 17 years old, I went to my father and I said, Dad, he was a police constable. And I said to him, Dad, I want to study law. I want to be a barrister. And he said, that is never happening as long as I'm alive, because they are a shower of sharks and you will end up turning a police constable inside out in a witness box. And that is never going to happen with my son. Go and get a proper job. 20 years later, I had a bit of a moment and thought, hang on a sec. I wanted that for me. I needed that as an expression of who I was. And I didn't do well at school because I played rugby and that was all I cared about. So as an adult, I said, I'm going to go back to study and I'm going to do an open university course, which I did. And I passed really well and qualified for a place at University of Edinburgh. And I did my law degree at Edinburgh at the age of 37 until I was 41. And so I wanted to do something with it. And I'd been working for the Scottish Court Service in a reasonably junior position. And somebody said, the Director General for Justice is looking for somebody to do something. And I was like, wow, Director General, yes, tick, 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 tick. Didn't care what the job was.
Let's do that. Yeah.
And so I went and did that. Anyway, he retired after a couple of years and I'd done the job and it was great. And he said, okay, two choices. You can either work for the new Director General or you can do a job you'd enjoy. And I said, right, okay, job I'd enjoy, please. And he said, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, I really love cars. Have you got anything with cars? Thinking I might go to Scottish Government Fleet or that kind of thing. And he came back and he said, we've got this legislation. It's kind of emissions legislation from the EU. This is 2010. He said, we've got this emissions legislation. We've got to do something with it. Can you have a look at it? And I started to read it and it said that 40,000 people a year were dying from poor air quality as a result of transport. I was like, what? Seriously? And Nissan invited me to go and do a test drive of their brand new Nissan Leaf. And so I went and sat in this car, drove it around Portugal for a little while and went, this is the future. I want to work in transport. This is so good. Yes. So I went and did the job, and I became head of sustainability for the Scottish Government, sustainable transport. And I ended up doing all of their transport policies around biofuels, hydrogen vehicles, and key to this was electric vehicles. So we won some money from the UK government, £3 million, to put in the first charging infrastructure. And that was me. I was hooked.
So you were such an early adopter. I'm writing down early adopter here. You were just. So hang on. So that was 2010.
Yeah. So my dad, and you'll realise that I have a close relationship with my dad, and it's close but challenging some days because he was a very strong, and still is a very strong-minded human being. My dad said to me, if you want to be a success at something, get in to something new at the ground level and make it yours. And this stuck with me. And I realised as I was driving around Portugal that this was new, this was going to be enormous because of the impact of emissions. And I just thought, I've got to do this. This is really important. And so I got in at the ground level with something that mattered and would make a difference. And now I'm talking to you.
I know. Oh my God. I'm just overwhelmed by the length of time you've been in this industry. You know, it's amazing. So how did you end up meeting the EV Café team? What happened? How did that happen?
Black magic. It was dark. It was really very simple. So lockdown happened, March 23rd, 2020, and suddenly the industry shut down. So nobody bought cars, nobody sold cars, nobody spoke about cars. It all stopped. And Johnny Berry, who was doing a job with Renault at the time, he reached out to a couple of his colleagues and said, we should just jump on a Teams call and we should just chat and just keep in touch and make sure we're all okay. Which started, and there were 2 or 3 people that joined. And one of those colleagues reached out to me and said, we have this chat on a Wednesday. We're just kind of staying in touch. We think you'd be a bit of fun. Would you come on? We know you don't know much, but you're all right. And I said, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I joined the call, and there was me, Paul Kirby, Sarah Sloman, Johnny Berry, and this guy called Matt Kiziuk, who unfortunately he was like the 5th Beatle, didn't quite make it, and went on to do other things. And so Sarah, Paul, Johnny, and I started to have these conversations, and we reached out to our networks and just said, look, we're having a ball. We're talking about EVs. Come and talk to us. Come and have a chat. And we got 20, 30 people on a call, and we're like, wow. And over the weeks, and we were doing one of these every week for 2 hours on a Wednesday, just chatting, just shooting the breeze. And we were using Zoom, and then we got past whatever the free limit was, and we needed to start paying for it. So the 4 of us started to stick our hands in our pockets to pay for Zoom so that we could keep talking. And we paid 20 quid a week to get a license. And it grew, and we got to 500. We were paying £150 for a license every month to do this thing. And we thought, we need somebody who's got dough. Let's get Sam Clark on the show.
Is that how it happened?
So Sam joined, brought his massive wallet with him, and he said, what do you need? And off we went. And so we grew and grew and grew. And I came up one day and said, I think we could do something commercially here. I think there's a business here where we could continue to do our day jobs, but we could run this more like a proper business. And the guy said, yeah, okay. And we started Patreon, asking if people would pay a small amount each month to support what we were doing and basically pay for the Zoom license. And we were overwhelmed, and we started to get ridiculous amounts of money from individuals who were so kind, so unbelievably kind. And one of them was Kate Tyrrell, who at the time worked for My Energy. And Kate said, you're brilliant. We'd like to do something with you. Can we explore a commercial relationship? And they were our first sponsor, and they paid us some money to promote what they do and how they do it. Yeah. And that was it. And we knew people in the industry. We reached out and we said, hey, look, we got like 1,000 people who follow us. Do you want to kind of join the party? And they were like, yeah, we'll have some of that. And before long, we had our core sponsors and our audiences grew. And what we realised we had was something very special. We had chemistry between the five of us, which can't explain, because I didn't like Sam when I first met him. I thought he was an arrogant pig.
Does he know that?
Yes, he absolutely knows that, and he's told me I was the same. He didn't like me either. Sarah I'd known but didn't realise how intelligent she is. I just thought she was a bit of fluff that kind of came on and went, oh, EV's lovely policy, yay. And actually, honestly, I didn't think she had depth. I didn't think she had the quality that she's got. She's phenomenally clever, brilliant, and such a great presenter, sense of humour. And the reason I say this is that I'm very guilty of judging people on face value. You know, you see something and you go, nah, not for me. And over the years with the EV Café, what I've learned is that if you open your eyes and you open your mind and you open your heart, you can discover some great things. And electric vehicles are the same. We all come at things from a position of prejudice. And we say, I like some things, I don't like others. I'm comfortable with that, I'm not comfortable with that. And actually, when I started to stop and seek to understand, and I know I've talked an awful lot, but that's why I'm here. If I seek to understand, I can challenge myself, my fears, my prejudices, and learn something. And EVs are that thing for me. So people, I've learned about people, but I've learned about that this EV space is about community. It's not about the technology. It's not really about how far the car goes or how good the charging infrastructure is. Those things matter, but people make stuff work. They make things better. People are phenomenal. So the EV Cafe's become this community of like-minded people. We've now got something in the region of 55,000 people in our network. We have way over 100,000 engagements every single month through social media, along with the events we do, the webinars, the workplace days that we do, special days where we go in and we help your workforce to understand EVs. Yeah, we do loads of stuff, but the most important thing is the human beings we connect with.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, and I said this to you before, that when we met at the EV show last week, it was so good. But not only that, everybody was just so warm who I met, and actually it was funny. I was kind of going to different events and things, and I've not been to lots since the end of lockdown. But actually, it was just so welcoming. Everybody was talking to, everybody was open and happy to chat. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why the people on the stands are there. They're there to kind of, promote their products. But I found that it was just so lovely and just warm, and yeah, it made a difference. I really enjoyed it. I really, really did.
I'm glad about that, because that illustrates what the industry is. When I started this 10, 12 years ago, you couldn't get two charging companies in the same room at the same time to talk about anything. They were a nightmare, fighting with each other. I'm the best, you're rubbish. Now what we realise is there's a bigger, greater good here, and it's worth talking about. We can collaborate, we can move forward together. And I think that's really the key for the EV world, is that we do collaborate. This isn't just talk. Lots of industries say, yeah, let's collaborate. But now EVs have become far more than just the vehicle, far more than just the charging infrastructure. They have become renewable energy, how you generate it, store it, use it. They've become software and systems and processes and people, complex as anything, but actually still really simple at its core. So it's a phenomenal world.
The interconnectivity, I wrote a blog about it last week. In fact, I've written a newsletter I'm going to put out today probably. I normally do it a couple of weeks later, but the interconnectivity of everything was just, for me, it was mind-blowing. And as myself and Chris, my colleague, were walking around, and I've kind of been nosing around for a little, for a few months, and actually I could see the kind of the light go on in his mind. You know, it's like somebody was talking to him about, I think we were talking to one company, it was about the lamppost charging, you know, and actually just the fact that the innovation in there, because it's electricity that's already there. And why would you not use it to charge, you know, from a lamp? You've got a lamppost on streets, on all streets, well, most streets anyway, you know, and just things like that. And just, he was going round, and there were certain things that I was like, oh yeah, and he's just like, wow. And it is quite mind-blowing, because if people haven't been around this industry, you know, and like I kind of delve in quite quickly, and was, you know, I've kind of done quite a lot of research on this, but for Chris it was quite early for him. But yeah, it's just amazing, the innovation out there. We were both talking about innovation so much, because it's just leading the way to a totally different place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think what's key here is to remember that the UK market isn't always the most innovative. So those lamppost chargers I saw 7 years ago in Berlin, and I was there with Glasgow City Council and a number of other organisations looking at how Berlin charges. Lamppost charging is second nature there. They have 72 different charge point operators for Berlin alone.
Blimey.
This was then, so goodness only knows what it is now.
Yeah.
But as a customer, you would never know that, because you just rock up to a charger, you have one app which you use, and that will essentially allow you to charge. They take a scoop off the top, tiny amount of money for each charge that's undertaken. But you as a customer just have that one app, you charge, you pay them, they make sure that the supplier gets their money. Job done. All the complexity behind the system gone. In the UK, we've still got multiple different networks with multiple RFID cards, with multiple apps, with different ways of paying. Madness. Innovation is out there, and what's really key is that we all have experience in the EV Café. We all have experience of our own market, but we have experience worldwide. So we're lucky enough. Paul goes off all over the world looking at different charging infrastructure, different solutions for fleet, for van, so that he's able to bring to the table the very latest in innovation from around the world. So we're getting to the point in the EV Café where we're benefiting from that wide knowledge and hoping to be able to inform and influence and engage and drive change, because we know it exists and works elsewhere.
And it's the same. I kind of was recording something recently about how people view change, you know, and not everybody is, you know, because of what I do, because I'm working in business improvement, and it's not always easy for people. And I think what you're doing is kind of, we're both very, very much singing from the same hymn sheet here, that actually change, there has to be an education. The stuff that you're doing, the work that you're doing is education, a big education piece. I can't get my teeth in today. An education piece. But this is, you know, if I can do a little bit to help people as well, you know, I haven't got the influence that you have, but hopefully, you know, I can start getting you know, other people to understand who maybe have not even thought about these things, you know, because it's what we need to do, isn't it?
If I may, I met, as part of my job with the Scottish Government, a man called Olivier Paturet. He was the global head of Nissan. And he was based in Europe, in Paris, and I went to see an EV show, and he was there. Now, this man, I was a lowly civil servant, and he was a massive, massive figurehead in the marketplace, and I was lucky enough to be on the stage with him. And I said to him, Olivier, we need a champion. We need an enthusiast. We need somebody who can be a figurehead for EVs in Scotland. Would it be you? And he said to me, John, I want you to answer me something. Why is it not you? And I said, because I'm a lowly civil servant and I put the policy in and that's not what I do. He said, why? Why is it not you? And that really stuck with me to the point where I can bring all the detail back. And he was right, because anybody can do what I do. Anybody can do what you do. They just have to believe. And it was Anthony Hopkins who recently said, what was the best advice you were given on a film set? And he said, I had a director one day who came to me and he said, Anthony, for this role, I need you to do 3 things. Believe, and believe. And that was the best advice he'd ever had. I believe that what I'm doing is right. I believe that what I'm doing is to the best of my ability. And so there's not much that stops me. I hear lots of people saying they can't. That's fine. Henry Ford, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're probably right.
Yeah, very much. And the chemistry that you guys, that the EV Café team have, when you know, this last week was the first time I actually saw you live on stage, you know, together, and the energy and the chemistry that you've got is fabulous. You know, it's kind of, I don't know what I was, whether I was expecting something different from when I've seen you on YouTube and on LinkedIn Live, but it was great, and the way you kind of, you personally, I would say, took us on a bit of a journey. You know, I don't know whether you know, I actually sat in the wrong auditorium to start off with, and I was sat thinking, oh my God, where are they? Why are they marking these people up? Oh my God, I've gone to the wrong place. So I pegged it to the front, and I think you just literally started, so I kind of snuck in, you know, and hid at the front. Well, you can't really hide at the front, can you? But you know, but actually that energy that you gave to everybody, and that, you know, that the information, there's just so much, and it makes a difference to people.
Somebody once asked me, what was the thing that has made you most money in life? And, you know, I've got my law degree on the wall, and I've got, you know, I've achieved not very much in my life, but the things I have achieved have been through hard work. The most important thing that I have is passion. That has earned me more money than anything else, because lots of people go through the motions of life for a whole host of reasons, and they're hugely weighed down by challenges in their lives. I don't have those things. I'm extremely lucky. I give 100% to what I do. You may like it, you may hate it, you may think arrogant, you may think idiot, you think what you like. I don't care. I'm 57 years old. I'm past caring. What I care about is that I give the best account of me. That's all I've got. My mum died 8 years ago of lung cancer, and when I lost my mum, I realised that she had me for a reason. She had me to be the best me I can be. And up to that point, I hadn't been the best me I could be. And in the last 8 years, I've given 100% to making sure that I never let down the people that I care about.
Yeah.
I don't always succeed, but I do my best.
I know exactly what you're saying. We've had you know, I've lost both my parents as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. It changes your view on life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Getting old is actually really good. I'm really enjoying this journey, because I'm far less bothered by what other people think, and that enables me to do things which previously I thought maybe I couldn't.
Right. I suppose. Yeah. I'm still learning that.
It's a journey.
Yeah, really.
It's a journey. Do you know, the hardest part of any journey is that first step, and you and I have both taken those steps. We're outside of our comfort zone. You know, there was a time when I had no idea. My first day in the Scottish Government doing this sustainable transport thing, I had a meeting with the director of a biofuels company to talk about the RTFO, so the Renewable Transport Fuel Obligation, something I knew nothing about. Nothing. Not a thing. And I went to Google. I kid you not, before this meeting with our director and this guy from this outside company, I went to Google and put in biofuels. What the hell is that? I have no idea. And now I've learned what biofuels are because I was interested enough to go find out.
Yeah, same with me. Absolutely. Like I say, I just dig in, and I like to learn, and I like to share. Same as you, I like to share. So if I learn something and I think it's interesting and other people would be interested, I want to share it. It makes a difference. So what is your aim long term for the EV Cafe then? Where do you see it? Where would you want it to be?
It's a really great question, because we had a directors meeting 3 weeks ago, where we asked that precise question. What's the end game? What are we aiming to do? And honestly, there's a personal one, and there's a business one. So from a business perspective, we need better transport systems that work for people. And our goal is to facilitate that in the best way we can. So whether that's by championing great businesses, by working with authorities to make systems better, to bring the best technology to the marketplace, to be able to work with new markets. So we've started a conversation with a lady in Ghana who's a petroleum importer who wants to introduce EVs. That's huge. That's massive. They have 3,500 EVs in a population of 31 million people. We have an opportunity to help influence a marketplace based on a conversation we had last week. That matters. It has scale, it has scope, and it will impact people's lives. And if we can change somebody's life for the better so that they can go and work when they couldn't previously, they can get to the hospital, the library, the doctor, whatever it might be. And we've done that through something we've done, happy days. So that's the business objective, is to keep doing what we do in this space. And it may be, you heard it here first, it may be that it's not just EVs. It may be that there are a whole host of solutions to a whole host of problems that we can help facilitate. So, water and plastic in water might be an area we look at. Solar panels, wind turbine, renewables, new technologies that come to market we've not even invented yet. Who knows? So that's the business one. From a personal perspective, it's an interesting question. My wife and I had a conversation last week, and we agreed to ban a word that I'm going to use probably for the last time. Retirement. Retirement is not happening. So I'm 57, and lots of my peers are saying, I've only got 3 years and then I can retire. I'm thinking, I'm thinking, right, I've probably got another good 23 years to achieve some stuff. Before I might, slow down a bit. It's not happening. I know that my work is keeping me young, occupied, out of trouble, because this thing. So the objective with the EV Cafe is, as long as I'm still relevant and as long as I'm adding some value, to stick with it. If there's ever a day when my friends, my 4 colleagues, say to me, John, go away, then I will happily hand over to somebody else who can wear these.
That'll never happen. That's never going to happen, honestly.
I'd love to be like Bruce Forsyth, who kept going till the day he died, pretty much. And, that's an arrogant thing to say. Good grief, sorry. But to have that longevity, he was
I know what you mean.
Hugely talented and all that stuff. But, I just want to make people's lives a bit easier. There's simple things. So I'm going to, quick example. Making hydrogen is a complex thing to do, right? Mm-hmm. No. Making hydrogen is really simple.
Oh, is it?
You get
is it? Okay.
Water in a vessel.
Yeah.
Happens to be the EV Cafe mug. These are available. So you get water in a vessel. You get electricity, ideally renewable electricity. You pass that electricity through the water, and what escapes is hydrogen. It is that simple. Okay? There is the lesson of the day. Now, I learned that from somebody who'd spent their lives in chemistry. I didn't. I don't know anything, but I pull in all these things that other people know, and I'm able to make them really simple. That's what I do, and as long as I can keep doing that, I'm happy.
I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So, I'm going to ask you one final question. Tell me how everybody can find you. I mean, so we've talked about YouTube, we've talked about LinkedIn Live. Where do people find you? You're in multiple places.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually being very funny, and actually there's a lot of amusement, and it cracks me up some of the things. So tell me where you are.
Okay.
Tell everybody where you are.
Firstly, I'm going to give a warning. If you're of a nervous disposition,
don't listen.
Don't do anything that I say in the next 2 minutes. So, the EV Café have our own website, of course, the evcafe.org. So, evcafe.org. Go find us, and there's a load of stuff there. We are on LinkedIn, all social media platforms. So, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're on it, because we need to get to people so that they can come to us and we can work together. So we're on all those things. YouTube, as you say, YouTube Live. I read the news every Friday morning at 10 o'clock. And we do monthly webinars for 1 hour where we bring expert guests to come and talk to us Muppets about precisely what they do in the industry to make EVs workable. So the webinars are really key. The news on a Friday, you'll never have a laugh like it, I promise you. Some of the double entendres that we roll out, you wouldn't believe.
It's great.
And then I think one of the key things is the events that we do. So we go to pretty much all of the relevant events. So things like the ITT Hub in Farnborough, we're at that. So Fully Charged will be at both of those. We are at Fleet and Mobility Live, so trade shows essentially. But they are places where you can come and you can find out the London EV show. We've even been asked to go to Saudi Arabia. Woo!
Have you now?
Yes.
Oh my Gideon. What?
So we've got, so Ghana, Saudi Arabia. Paul's off to Australia with Fully Charged. I mean,
oh my God.
so there's loads and loads of stuff that we're involved with. And again, there's an example of how the community works. So Fully Charged, in some people's eyes, might be seen as competition. No, shut up. Give them a big hug. They go out, they go do their thing. We do our thing. We're different. We're complementary. And we work together for the greater good.
Absolutely. It's very true. And on Twitter, so you are the EV Cafe on most places. On Twitter, you're EV Cafe 1, aren't you?
Yes. Put in EV Cafe into any of the social media platforms and you will find us.
Absolutely.
If you can't...
Oh, you'll hear him.
Yeah.
They'll hear you.
If you want more...
And see you.
If you want more information, hello@evcafe.org. We'll send an email to our wonderful executive assistant Helen, who will then make sure that we get back to you, give you all the information you need.
Wonderful. It's been really lovely talking to you, and I'm sure we'll be carrying on talking. I'll keep getting you back on here. So thank you ever so much for joining me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, because I can honestly say this is the first podcast where I've sat in the interviewee's seat, and it's an uncomfortable seat to sit in.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. There you go. Anyway, thank you, John.
Cheers, Liz.
And to everybody else, thank you for joining us, and I shall see you all next time. Bye-bye.
See ya!
Bye. You've been watching Electric Evolution with Liz Allan. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon, and you'll receive all of our weekly videos. Thanks for watching. See you soon.